Y'all already know the rules. When you come in my house, take off your shoes and super violate that like button. It don't cost you nothing to hit that like button. Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Everybody's focused on the charges, but this move right here could change everything. David just pled not guilty. Expected, right? But what people are missing, he is demanding an immediate preliminary hearing. And that's a big deal. Because right now, prosecutors are throwing around huge charges. First-degree murder, special circumstances, death penalty on the table. But what they're saying is they haven't seen any proof yet. A preliminary hearing is going to force them to lay out all the evidence in court. Not headlines, not theories, just evidence. And they have to show how it happened, when it happened, and why they believe he did it. In this case, that's where it gets tricky. You've got a body that was decomposed for months. They said that body was in that car for 4 months. And it was in a plastic bag, and they said he put it there. Now, a timeline that's not clean. And there's questions about who had access to that car when he was out of town. So now, the defense gets to say, okay, prove it. And let's clear something up real quick. His dad is not a lawyer, but he does work in legal tech and litigation support, which means he understands how cases are built and exactly where they fall apart. And on top of that, his parents were subpoenaed. Those records were sealed. And now we're hearing they didn't testify. So this move, this is him forcing the DA to show their hands early. And if they can't connect everything cleanly, this case could start looking very different. The judge can dismiss it. They can lower the charges. There's so many things that could happen now. We just got to watch and see what happens. I really hope Celeste gets justice because she didn't deserve this. Oh, this just got serious because David's friend might have just turned on him. And now the death has officially been ruled as homicide, as we've been speaking about. But let's talk about Neo Langston, because this is where the case starts shifting. Now, you know Neo was arrested a couple of months ago, and he's supposed to be a witness, but he didn't show up, and he was arrested. Then suddenly, he starts speaking out and saying he knows a lot about what happened to Celeste Rivas. And then, fast forward, he goes silent. That's not a coincidence. That's strategy. Now, here's where it gets real. The medical examiner's office has ruled it a homicide. So let's be clear. This was not an accident. This was not a natural death. Someone is actually responsible for this. And we're talking about in a legal sense. But even with that, there's still a problem because the body was decomposed, dismembered, and sitting for months. So even though it's been ruled a homicide, proving how that happens gets even harder. Proving who did it is even harder. And that timeline, it gets so shaky. Now, I do believe that the DA has something because I watched what she said in the court, and she said we will be happy to show what we have. But that's also why Neo matters, because if the physical evidence is limited, every witness becomes important. And Neo is the one person saying he knows something, while also backing off at the same time. And meanwhile, David pleads not guilty and demands a preliminary hearing immediately. That's him saying, show me your case right now, or let me go. So now you've got a confirmed homicide, weak physical clarity, a friend acting strange, and the defendant pushing the case faster. This is either about to lock in or fall apart depending on what Neo actually knows. But again, I have a feeling that they have actual evidence. I think his digital footprint is going to have a lot to do with it. Just looking at what we see so far and the way that the prosecutor was acting, that makes me believe that they really do have something. So we shall see. We shall see.
The way that it builds up to the big moment where she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. And I didn't even cry, not a single tear. It was really more of a figurative I killed you, especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. That's why I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you. So it's all in the mind because that's the most secure place you can be is in your mind. So if you can expel that thought from your mind, then everything else will just come together.
David, you could try to play it cool all you want, but you will face justice. It is honestly infuriating how nonchalant David appeared in court today, because while prosecutors were laying out some of the most disturbing details in this case, reports say he seemed bored and showed little to no reaction. Mind you, prosecutors say they found a significant amount of illegal explicit material involving minors on his phone, aka CP. He nasty. A whole predator at that, and as we know, he's already pled not guilty to all charges surrounding the homicide of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. But I'll tell you one thing, David's lawyers got their work cut out for them, because prosecutors revealed they have around 40 terabytes of data tied to this investigation. And to understand how massive that is, that's roughly the equivalent of over 10,000 HD movies, or basically someone's entire digital life being analyzed piece by piece. Authorities also executed a search warrant and raided his home back in September, collecting laptops, computers, and other digital devices, all of which are a part of the case. On top of that, prosecutors revealed they used a court-authorized wiretap, meaning investigators were actively monitoring communications while building their case, so they got your ass. Now here's where the court timeline does get a little bit confusing, because some people were expecting the preliminary hearing to happen today, but instead today was used as a status hearing. According to reports, the hearing was postponed because prosecutors asked for more time to review the massive amount of evidence in this case, which makes sense when you realize they're dealing with tens of terabytes of data. The actual preliminary hearing is now set for May 1st, and that's when a judge will decide if there's enough evidence for this case to move forward to trial. Prosecutors have also stated they expect to be ready for that hearing and are hoping the case could move toward trial within 60 days, showing they're trying to move things forward despite how complex this investigation is. I am so ready for this to go to trial so they can nail his ass, because as we know, Celeste was not the only one of his alleged victims, and he needs to be dealt with permanently.
If the reports is even half true about David, he's a psychopath. Reports are saying Celeste had multiple penetration injuries on her body. He said her left ring finger was amputated along with her pinky fingers. And we all know her body was severely decomposing inside of his whip in the front trunk of his car. They said her head was partially skeletonized and she was missing her left eye. That's sick. So this man wasn't just a psychopath in his music. It wasn't just an idea in his brain. This man brung it to real life. And it started because they said this man used to watch crime shows and he used to watch people get murdered, and he didn't have no care in the world. He loved it. He didn't have no gruesome face, like none of that. That's a psychopath. Anybody that would take a picture like this, you know something wrong up there.
The more I look into this case, the more disturbing it is. The more I look into this case, the more disturbing it is. I gotta keep it real. Something just ain't right. And no, I'm not saying this dude is innocent. But this situation just feels really, really weird and really, really eerie. Absolutely, I'm not saying he's innocent. But it do seem like a setup.
So allegedly, David cut off 2 of Celeste's fingers. Her pinky and her left ring finger that had a tattoo on it that read David was removed. And this shit gets way worse because the autopsy reports tell exactly what happened. Exactly how she lost her life. So the medical examiner said that there are 2 puncturing wounds of the torso with smooth edges that represent sharp force injury, which means she was killed by multiple penetrating injuries. The wound on her upper abdomen penetrated her liver, and the wound on her chest penetrates one of the left intercostal spaces with disruption of the adjacent ribs, cortical surfaces. Mind you, this gets way worse. On top of her fingers being amputated, on top of her suffering multiple torso-penetrating wounds, her head was partially skeletonized, and she had a missing eye. They're also saying that she might have had alcohol in her system. They're also saying that there were drugs in her system. Now they're saying they confiscated David's phone, and allegedly on his phone, he has tons of... You gotta ask yourself, how wicked was this man? You also have to ask yourself, how many people knew that these two were in a relationship and didn't say anything about it? These are the questions that need to be asked. And then you gotta ask yourself, who helped him hide the things that he did to Celeste? Who was his accomplice? Because somebody had to help him hide the things that was done to this young lady. Somebody helped him. This is probably one of the sickest cases we're gonna hear this year. Any more information? I'm gonna let you know. I'm out.
Was Celeste's death the culmination of David's violent fantasies? July 2022, David releases the video romantic Homicide. In the video, David stands over the blood-soaked body of a girl. December 2023, David's song Celeste is leaked. David is dating Celeste even though she's only 13 years old. February 2025, David releases the video One More Dance. In the video, he's seen in a bloody shirt dragging a body. He watches as the body is stuffed into the trunk of a car. April 2025, David allegedly kills Celeste. September 2025, her body turns up in the trunk of his Tesla. I'm author and attorney Doug Carey.
Where's your media
I personally don't.
Joe, I media trained you. That's controversial.
It's controversial of...
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
The prosecution just dropped a bombshell in the murder case of the musician David. They were in court, preliminary hearing, and the prosecution said that there was a significant amount of child on David's iPhone. Now, the hearing today was all about the evidence that the DA's team has managed to build, and the defense wants to see it. They say that David is innocent of the charges, that he did not murder 14-year-old Celeste, but every time there's a hearing, we're learning more about this case, and the DA says that David was Celeste as of September 2023, when she was barely 13 years old, just after she had turned 12. Now, they have another hearing scheduled for later this month, which means that if the judge says, hey, we move forward with the preliminary case, the DA is going to have to produce some of the evidence. That will become public. We will know much more exactly about what kind of evidence the prosecution has, maybe witnesses that they have been talking to, and what the allegations are specifically. But again, the defense maintains that they are pushing for a speedy trial, pushing for the prosecution to give them what they have, because they believe the evidence will not hold up in trial. Also, they have been angling for bail because at this point, David is being held without any bail. He could face the death penalty if he's convicted, because he not only faces a murder charge for the killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, but there are aggravating circumstances, including that he was allegedly lying in wait, that he did it for financial gain, and that he murdered a witness. So this is building up into something pretty big.
It do seem like he's being used as a scapegoat. I don't think for a single second he did this by himself. And I'm going to say it again. I don't think he's innocent. They done found out that this man has some Bambada Epstein files in his phone. He got some Bambada Epstein files in his phone. I'm not going to even lie. I'm afraid for the youth today. Because for him to be 20 years old, this man is like the black Jeffrey Dahmers. That's not normal. What he did is not normal. The fact that he can do that to a 14-year-old girl is not normal. The fact that he lives in Hollywood Hills, don't even rub me the right way, because we know what every last one of them are capable of. So was that part of his sacrifice or his humiliation ritual for him to get into the industry or to elevate to the next level? Did the higher ups decide that they needed a distraction while we on the brink of World War III, so they was going to sacrifice him and give him up? Why was that girl body left in that car like that, where it could so easily trace back to him? And if he done went to the level of actually dismembering her body, taking trophies, why would he dump it in a car where it could be traced back to him? It's not making any sense to me. Because obviously this idiot is clever enough to leave evidence in his phone knowing that he's being investigated. It just ain't making any sense to me. I'm telling you. He was taking souvenirs off that girl's body. He placed the body inside his car, where he knew sooner or later somebody was going to find that car and examine that car and it was going to come back to him. He left the evidence in his phone. I don't know. What I will say to you as a people, to us as a people, we have to protect our women and children. Some of the stories that's hitting the news, the headlines, whether it be this 14-year-old girl that had no business being with this 20-year-old man, and she started off when she was 13. It's like, you know, I get it, some of these kids is rebellion, but you parents can't control a 13-year-old kid? Where's all the fathers at? Where was the mother at? But that's a whole nother video. It is what it is. I will be keeping y'all updated on the situation. I want y'all to really, really violate the comment section, because my comment section is being shadow banned because a lot of y'all being very, very active. And when y'all putting comments in the comment sections, it's being shadow banned. So y'all have to check and y'all have to put a couple of comments in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about the situation. Let me know where you from and let me know what age you are. Rep your city, rep your town, rep your state. And let me know how old you are. Let me know what you feel about this situation, what y'all think about this topic. It is what it is. Parents, hold on to your kids in these last days. Parents, hold on to your kids in these last days. Live life as if you are on the run and stay dangerous at the same time. I'm out.